Let's do it. Merry Christmas. By the time most of you watch this, it'll be Christmas Eve day. Probably by, this is Wednesday night when we record this. So Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. As I used to tell the kids at school, you got to cover all your bases and make sure you wish everybody a good day. And of course, we had a chance to, just got done watching the Gopher basketball.
Yeah, and they won another one.
They won another one, so they moved to 10-1. And, first half I didn't watch, but apparently things didn't go very well.
No, they really didn't. But keep in mind, Green Bay, Wisconsin has traditionally had real strong programs, and they come back and they were scrappy, and defensively they kind of skipped a couple of things and took away a couple of threes, and all of a sudden they're in a tight game. But they came out in the second half and it was and took control and started taking care of business. Jamison Battle is without Jamison Battle, that team would be in sorry shape.
Yeah, he obviously makes a lot of things happen. Takes up the other team's best defenders. They've got to know where he's at. He can shoot the three
all the time on both ends of the court. I mean, he's rebounding and he's shooting well, and he's starting to get this domination type thing. And I hope he can stick around. He's only a sophomore, and Ben Johnson probably has something for a foundation on this one.
Yeah, let's hope so. And like I said, they moved to 10-1. Obviously, they got I think a game next Wednesday, and then of course after the New Year, the Big Ten in all earnest, and we'll see what happens.
No, they start out with Illinois, and that's Kofi Cockburn, and if they can control that beast in the lane, they have a chance to do well against Illinois.
I would say if they can do that, they got a chance against a lot of good teams.
A lot of good teams.
Everybody's got. I found it interesting that at the end of the game, they said there's only 2 one-loss teams in the nation. Number 3, Purdue, and Minnesota.
And
obviously they're not ranked, so a difference in the schedules, but.
Well, that's okay because nobody expected them to be worth a rip anyway when they started, and all of a sudden they're beating these teams, and then they beat Michigan, and all of a sudden they're getting a look. And if they continue this, they're going to be fine. And I think if they win 6-7 games in the Big Ten, we got to go with that. They already got one against the big Buckaroo.
Yeah, from Michigan on the road. So I think the big thing is. NCAA would be nice. That would be a pipe dream. But NIT, make a run. Go like you said, win 6-7 games, goes 8-12 even in the Big Ten. That gives you a chance to be 18-13.
I want every one of those Big Ten teams to come in the barn thinking they could be beat, because every time they do, that could happen. And it's just and I mean. Of course, Michigan, they beat them in Michigan. They hadn't won a home game in a couple of years, or an away game for a couple of years. So, they're going to be just fine. I'm not at all concerned about them. It's next year. You see, all these transfers are all seniors, so they're going to have to pick up with those. But like you say, Jamison Battle is a big, strong, and a real live kid.
Did you get a chance to watch any of South Carolina and Stanford women's basketball last night?
I did, and what I'll tell you, South Carolina is a really good team, and I think that they're going to be. I think they're going to do just fine. I mean, they are the dominating team in the country right now.
Stanford was up 18 points. And South Carolina comes back. I was just looking over to my left that they were showing the weather, and they were showing the forecast for snow in International Falls through 11 p.m. for tomorrow. 2.5 inches by 11 p.m. tomorrow night, they're predicting.
I'm getting tired of this shoveling stuff.
Yeah, and of course I got to drive to Deer River tomorrow.
Oh boy.
I may have to leave even earlier.
You may have to.
May have to take care of business. So, anything else college basketball wise?
No, but there's going to be some good games in the next few days, and I want to see what NCAA basketball can do with the COVID and how they can set up their 32-team tournament. And I mean, this is really tough to do. COVID right now is beating all sports. And it's
here's where I'm at with it, and we may even disagree on this. We agree on a lot of things, but you know, and I'm not a doctor. I'm just listening to what they're saying. But they're saying Omicron is, you know, like a bad cold, or
2 weeks and then you're done. Yeah.
You know, you got to deal with it, and if you're vaccinated, not so bad. And I understand we don't want to spread it, but you know, the flu's been around for ever, right?
No, and I think what you know, I heard Fauci say today, this is going to be like a flu shot, and we've been getting flu shots for a long time here.
So to me, the question is, why are we going into a panic if this is just a flu type thing?
Yeah.
And we've been dealing with the flu for years, and I understand maybe it's more contagious.
It's very about 700 times more contagious. But
what I'm getting at is if you're vaccinated and it's only going to be a bad cold, then why can't we go do the things why can't the teams go play the teams that they want to play?
Well, I guess the big thing is that
I hate to
you are vaccinated and boosted, and I'm vaccinated and boosted, and we're like in our county here about 50%.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that they have, and I know that in Canada, they came up before they canceled the 2 games with no crossing the borders for the hockey teams, and you know, so they're going to take a very stringent stand on this, and you know, and I feel it's really too bad, but you know, if they see that that's the issue, then that's kind of the way it has to be. Nobody wants to go down that rabbit hole again.
I agree. Nobody wants to get sick, but we, you know, when the flus were around, and of course I've been around for 50 years. Never did we wear a mask, even when the flus were whatever. So I'm to the point of almost saying, well, let's go play the game, and if you're vaccinated, if you got your flu shot, nobody worried about whether I had the flu shot at school. I mean, well, there were probably people worried, but when I didn't get the flu shot, nobody said, well, geez, Mr. Ringhofer should be wearing a mask around the school because he didn't get the flu shot. That was never a concern.
No, but you have to take in consideration, I heard a report the other day about the school where nobody on the faculty has a COVID situation, and I'm thinking, why is that? Well, mostly because they've all been vaccinated.
But even if you're vaccinated, you can still get it. You can carry it around. It's just not that you're not going to get it. So
and it probably won't kill you.
It probably won't. So that's what I'm saying. If you get vaccinated, I mean, there's people out there that don't want to. I know some very, very personally that don't think that they want to get vaccinated because there hasn't been enough testing. Fine, okay. You run the risk of having a severe case of this. And like I said, I'm not wishing it on anybody, but at the same time, I believe that you've had the choice, and now let's go live a life a little bit. And you know, I guess I'm thinking about the NBA teams. All right.
Well, no,
we've got 5 guys on the Timberwolves that are in the COVID protocol. Okay, I understand we don't want to spread it to everybody else, and we don't want to take those chances. But at the same time, do we need to shut the seasons down?
Well, I don't know, because it's going to shut down for a little bit, and I hope within 10 or 14 days that they can come back for that, because I think this whole thing is going to hit, spike, and be gone. Okay. And a year, in years from now, maybe even next year. I mean, now you can take a pill for this, you know. And the Army, I just saw the other day, was getting a vaccine that was good for all COVID vaccines, all SARS virus, all these viruses in one shot. And you know, and it's you know, who could say, geez, if they take it in the Army, it's no good for me. So, but you know, there are things that are happening. I do know a year from now, this is going to look different than it does right now.
I think we said that a year ago, and boy, here we are still sitting. I think this is going to become part of our for a while.
For a while.
Let's get back to sports.
Let's do that.
Let's talk football.
Okay.
Let's go with the Vikes.
Hey, you know, what can you say about the Vikes? They won again. And keep in mind, winning pretty is winning. And
winning ugly is
winning. Yeah, and that's, you know, and as people say, you know, and we used to say in wrestling, did he win? Yeah. he won ugly and didn't deserve it, but he won. And this is how that record yields. And right now they're 7-7. I'm not sure what they're capable of doing, but I'm not going to cut them short on being able to make the playoffs.
I firmly believe that they still will make the playoffs. They got 2 of their last 3 games at home. Obviously, the Rams and the Packers on the road, both very tough games. Obviously, people are saying, well, what about Chicago? Chicago came out with a big chip on their shoulder because they knew that they had their backs up.
They're 2 years away.
I think when they come on January 9th to US Bank Stadium, they don't have that kind of chip on the shoulder because, yes, it's a divisional game, but I just don't think I don't think we'll see the same Chicago team. Now, having said that, will we see the same Vikings team? Because, with COVID and everything else, you could who knows who's going to be there. But having said all that, I believe that the Vikings win 2 of their last 3. They get to 9-8, and they make the playoffs.
Okay, tell me about Nwango.
Huh?
Yeah. Is he right now running ahead of Madison, or because I'm telling you right now he ran very well.
I say yes, and there was somebody made a very nice point about when Cook was in the game and when Cook wasn't in the game. Akeem Hicks, right? Number 96. I'm getting that right, the name right in my mind. It seemed all of a sudden I said it out loud, it didn't seem right. But when Cook went out of the game, he went out of the game. So Wong had more room to run, an easier time running. So when he got his 10 yards per carry that he was averaging, he was doing that against maybe not the top defensive front that the Bears had, because that's when they would decide to rest.
Oh, some of those holes were huge that he was running through. They really were nice size, and all he had to do was step outside and cut back to the inside.
But he is smooth.
He is.
He does have moves.
He's got what do you call speed? He's got to be the fastest guy on the team.
I was a big Madison fan,
and I still am.
And I've lost a little bit of it because I think he's lost a step. He has not kept himself at the top. And see, to me, he could be pouting a little bit because he's not getting as many touches as he would like because Cook is getting a share of them, and I get that. But what do you do? Do you pout? And then when you come on the field, you don't show what you can do, or do you step up?
He should be coming out hammering.
Yeah.
And he has the capability of doing that.
I firmly believe that.
And so he's fun to watch. We've been watching him for years. And, but between that, they have 3 incredible running backs. They all aren't going to stay here on this team probably at the end of the year, but right now they got to utilize all 3 of those backs, especially in the catching.
Yeah, and I think, I believed when they went into that game with Chicago not having any of their starting secondary, I thought that the Vikings would be able to light them up deep, or in the medium range. Cousins ended up with 87 yards or whatever it was.
It wasn't
passing
very good.
yards, obviously it was not good. He talked about Chicago playing a 2 deep, not letting them get deep. But to me, it didn't look like the receivers could get open.
On top of that, if you got 2 deep, what do? You run those slant patterns, any one of those things that cuts underneath, and I didn't see a lot of those either. Those are Thalen's favorites.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody complains when they run the short routes because, they got to go deep. Well, when the team takes that away, you still try to force it deep. Anyway, Kubiak is still learning his way.
He is,
and he needs to do a better job.
It wasn't a pretty win; it was a win, and we have to take that for what it's worth. And I'll tell you, Terry Bradshaw last week said he goes over and he says, "I don't see anybody that's going to beat the Packers." And Bradshaw went over to the board and circled the Vikings. And so even Bradshaw, who, by the way, wasn't on a show last night, and they showed a picture of him with this incredible, beautiful grandchild of his that was just born. I tell you, TB, he knows what he's doing, and he's got his priorities set, and that baby was a whole lot prettier than he was. But I think between him and Charles Barkley, they're the 2 funniest analysts on TV, and I listen to those guys anytime.
So the Packers are 11-3.
Yes.
Then there's 4 teams in the NFC that are 10-4.
How does that happen?
So you take 5 teams and you say, all right, those 5 teams are in the playoffs. And then there's 2 games between San Francisco and those 10-4 teams because San Francisco's 8-6. Obviously, they have the tiebreaker against the Vikings. So San Francisco is in. So to me, with 3 weeks left, there are 6 teams in. Now, San Francisco could falter, but they're playing too good a football right now to do that. So I see those 6 teams in. So the Vikings, the Saints, the who am I missing here? Philadelphia. Washington football team, and a couple others are vying basically for 1 spot.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to get to 9 wins. 10 obviously.
Well, on the top of that, you got to beat a good team, and they got that coming up. I mean, there's no reason for them, if they want to be in these playoffs, to beat the Rams, and defensively, just make it miserable for this Rams passing offense. And
shut down Cooper Kupp. That's nobody's done it this year. We'll see if the Vikes can do it.
No.
It wouldn't seem likely, but I'm hopeful.
And we got to rush past Aaron Donald too, and that's
Better find a way to make sure he's double teamed
all the time.
Play.
He's an amazing lineman. Yeah, you can watch him all day long.
Yeah, number 99. Take a look on Sunday at noon and see what happens. What else did you see in pro football this weekend?
Let me see.
We apparently shouldn't have let Daniel Carlson go because he can kick game-winning field goals for the Las Vegas Raiders, but not for the Vikings.
Well, and I mean, I got to consider the Indianapolis Colts. They are, apparently they found themselves a quarterback and taught him how to play. Yeah. And so, they're back in the swing of things, and Tampa, where are they at these days? So it's and also the Patriots got beat. Yeah, first time in forever.
Well, I suppose the Patriot fans are ready to have Belichick fired and send the quarterback off because he can't throw the football either, just like our quarterback can.
Yeah, well, Belichick can't throw the football either, but he's still a fine coach and the best.
But he lost. I mean, geez, the Vikings. Every day I go to the radio station, all I hear is they gotta fire Zimmer. Zimmer's got to be fired. He'll never make it past the end of the season. I'm like.
So if he makes the playoffs, are they going to fire him then? I don't think so. And they're not going to fire Cousins either.
I wouldn't think so either. But I don't know. These people are nuts. That's all.
They're nuts.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They're nuts.
They are crazy.
Don't fire coaches willy-nilly. That's look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've had 3 coaches in the last 50 years, I think it is, with Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher and Tomlin.
Yeah.
There's a reason. They've had some ups and downs, the Steelers have, but they don't panic, okay? They don't panic. You don't just fire your coach just because that's
and speaking about, I used to watch Chuck Noll. He took a beating for years, the biggest losing coach in professional football. And then all of a sudden, he got the boys. He got a couple of linebackers. He's got Franco Harris.
He's a great coach, right?
He's in the Hall of Fame. And it's just like, a lot of times, if you got Franco Harris and Bradshaw and
Lynn Swan, Rocky Blyer,
it goes on.
Jack Ham, Jack Lambert.
Jeez, I got a pretty good team there.
Yeah, so to me, this whole thing is, well, we're never going to get better with Zimmer at the S coach. We're never going to this. We're never going to that. You guys just don't get it. I mean,
no, and from one year to the next, you don't have a clue what might be around, and it's just or who's going to be there, and we're starting to see, like, we lose a quarterback, or we lose a halfback, or we lose any of these people. You don't think there isn't somebody around that's been waiting to come in and take this spot? And I mean, I'm talking Tyler Huntley now. He's been sitting around while he's been only 3 or 4 months, but he just jumped in and it's kind of like, oh, I remember you.
And had a nice game.
Yeah, did have a nice game.
Didn't win.
No.
That's all it's all about, right? Guys out there, it's only about the winning.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you got to win pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you just can't win pretty. You got to win by more than 14 points.
Yeah, that's the spread, yes.
But the defense let up 25 points, and we scored 40 while the defense sucks, so we got to get rid of it. Are you telling I'm getting tired of everything?
Yeah. It gets to be bad. Anyway, it's nice to see these young kids come in and do the job. And how do they do it? Well, they do it, basically because they're really fast. And but they have a moderately, efficient passing system. They know what they want to do. They've got good eyes. And I like these kind of quarterbacks. You know that. I mean, Lamar Jackson's gone, so they just reached in their kitty bag and
pulled out another one, right?
Pulled out another one. Yeah. But, there's some other things going on. Where's Seattle Seahawks at these days? And
they're going to have their first losing record in 10 seasons.
Isn't that something?
My pick to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC is going to have a losing record.
Well, that's all right.
Nice job, Tim. Tell everybody what you know.
Well, you see, at the beginning of the year, it looks so easy. Everything kind of falls apart.
It's the AFC's got 13 teams at 500 or above.
Yeah.
With 3 games left.
That's
improbable.
Yeah.
Isn't the statistical, mathematical stuff on that?
You're a mathematician, but they never like statistics, and it's just like, But you're absolutely right. But this is something that NFL wanted years ago, and that's
they got it.
Yeah. That's team equality, and there it is.
Kansas City's at 10 wins in the AFC.
Yeah.
They got 17 teams with 7 and 7. 13 teams that close.
Yeah, and Kansas City right now is hot as a pistol, and
where's Marianne to tell us that again?
Oh, I don't know, but they're playing well, and amazingly enough, Mahomes plays well, but the defense is playing very well, and that's.
Yeah, I talked to Donnie Rolando last night before the basketball game, and he said it to me again. Doesn't matter how we're playing in December or January, we want to be playing our best basketball in March.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing for these NFL teams. Kansas City didn't look very good in September.
No.
You start thinking about things. Did they learn something last year?
They had to replace.
They go like 14-2 last year?
They did, but they shuffled a lot of that lineup, especially on defense.
Maybe you don't have to win 14 games to be able to make it to the Super Bowl. Maybe you don't have to shoot all your bullets every week.
And everybody wants to go undefeated, and I understand that, but when was the last time that happened? Miami, about 1,000 years ago? 72.
And look, even the New England Patriots, who were 18-0, didn't win. Oh my! They should have fired Belichick right then.
Right then, we knew he was no good.
Couldn't complete a perfect season.
No.
Get rid of your quarterback too. He must have been a bum. What was the guy's name?
He was. He went to Florida, but I can't remember.
Yeah, he's played in Florida now. I can't remember his.
Yeah.
They should have got rid of him a long time.
No, and that tight end he had, I'd have just kept him around if nothing else as a bodyguard, because he's an exceptional athlete as well. But that Tampa, it's not just Brady that's on that Tampa Bay team. I mean, you got Winfield, you got some exceptional receivers, and none of these guys, they don't pee and moan, man.
They scored 0 points the other night. Get rid of those guys. They're horrible.
Couldn't score a point. First time in ever.
They're horrible. Get rid of them. I need all these fans around.
The thing of it is, you get rid of them and replace them with what?
Exactly.
And it's
just play the game out and get better.
Yeah, like say, we'll draft somebody to take Cousins' place, and just who are you going to draft?
Who's going to draft?
Yeah.
There's none of the other teams out there want a great quarterback.
No.
It'll just magically appear. Oh my gosh, we're going to have to. Let's talk college football.
Well, let's talk about a little college football tonight.
So tonight we've
got Army and Missouri.
Army and Missouri.
Now Army, and of course I'm just now healing over from the Army-Navy game, but they run the football, as you know, very well. That's what they concentrate on. Missouri has the worst rushing defense in the country.
Wow!
And so I'm looking forward.
You're thinking it's going to be eating at the trough tonight for the boys.
What can I say? Jacoby Buchanan is going to hammer the line and hammer the line and hammer the line. He'll carry the ball 25 times and gain 30 yards, but they'll be a key 30.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I've gotten some grief from some of my friends about the Army-Navy game because...
I can't imagine in this bar somebody would give you grief.
Yeah, I got all the way from Boston. I mean,
really?
and a sailor from Washington. I mean, these guys, of course...
They're so mean.
Yeah, they all want one of my T-shirts, but...
No. What?
Yeah.
They can't have the T-shirt if they don't let you.
They're crazy.
So.
And anyway, tomorrow we've got the Frisco Football Classic. That's Miami in North Texas. The reason I bring up Frisco, I don't know how many games Frisco, Texas is sponsoring this year, but they do.
They had one last night, I think.
They did, and this one tomorrow is the Frisco Classic Burger, Classic Football Classic, and at 3:30 tomorrow, and then that's where NDSU and Montana State are going to play as well.
Did you watch the Bison on Friday night?
I watched the Bison, and then I watched Montana State and South Dakota. Montana State has got a very good football team.
Well, Montana State took down the #1 team, Sam Houston, and then eliminated South Dakota State. I thought it was going to be a Dakota final.
I did
for
too.
Sure. Or maybe I was hoping that it would be, but apparently Montana State's got a freshman quarterback.
He's got a true freshman quarterback, and he is good. And when they interview him, it looks like he's about 14 years old. But he's quick. He hides the ball really well and runs that offense just superb. Yeah, he's a lot of fun to watch, and he's a true freshman.
January 8th, North Dakota State versus Montana State in the FCS championship game, and we'll see. Hopefully, I don't know what time it starts yet, but we'll see. Hopefully, I can fit that in either before or in between my 2 hockey games that I have that day to broadcast. So.
Okay, and on the 25th, we've got the Camellia Bowl. That's Ball State and Georgia State. And the 27th, the Quick Lane Bowl. That's Western Michigan and Nevada, and the Military Bowl, Boston College and East Carolina.
That doesn't make sense. The Military Bowl has Boston College and East Carolina in it?
Yes.
Should it have a military team in it?
You would think.
Anyway, keep going.
On the 28th, Houston and Auburn, which might be a pretty good football game, and that's at Birmingham, Alabama. And the First Responder Bowl is Air Force in Louisville. That also should be a very good game. The Liberty Bowl is Texas Tech and Mississippi State. The Holiday Bowl is NC State and UCLA. And then again, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
It has
isn't that a hell of a title?
Doesn't that just make you want to play it? It's like the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Guaranteed
Rate Bowl, and that's the problem of it is it's at 10:15. I think that might be 9:15. 9:15 our time. So. With any luck, if I drink a lot of coffee, I'll make it through the first half.
Well, here's the thing, George. The International Falls Bronco girls basketball team plays at Little Fork that night. You don't know how happy Tim was to know that he'll be probably off the air, packed up and in the car when the game starts. And then he's going to probably get to watch a good share of that bad boy. Because usually, those games start at like 6:30. Well, I don't get to watch any of it then because I don't DVR. Well, A, I don't have DVR. B, I wouldn't DVR because, when are you going to find time to watch all that?
No.
I mean, some other people do, but I don't.
No, but like I said, on Tuesday there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bowls on the 28th. So there's plenty of football to watch. I don't know, somebody said there was like 46 bowls?
44 bowl games.
44 bowl games.
They added one just because they needed to, I think that's one of them that they added in Frisco because they had 2 teams that weren't going to get selected, and they just said, well, we'll make another bowl game.
Well, Frisco, Texas must make a lot of money on this one. I mean, they're doing a bowl a week.
Crazy, foolish Bison fan get down there, they just open up their wallets and
the other night watching them, they were going crazy. They had a tailgate at 3:00 in the morning. They're just a little bit bent. Yeah, I understand.
Alex, I love you, but you went to North Dakota State, and that's in a foreign country. So.
Yeah, it is.
So, college football, we got everything, I think, taken care of.
Yeah, we'll come back next week and talk about we'll talk about the finals here.
We'll talk about the semifinals next week. a week from today probably I'll be able to fit it in because, Thursday I got to go do a little hockey. Friday I'm going to miss the start of that first semifinal game as I'm going to be on the air doing Bronco hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
talking to crazy people.
That's a silly schedule.
That's a silly schedule.
But I tell you, those games are so amazing. I remember one time we were coaching a basketball game and we were on the range somewhere, and the football game started at 8 o'clock. We finished our game about 9. We drove to International Falls, and I had put it on so I was recording. And when I got to International Falls, it was like 5 minutes into the third quarter, and and it was like 10 o'clock at night. But the commercials for those games are just...
Well, then they got a 25-minute halftime because
Yes.
they got to have all the extravaganza. So that Gopher game starts at 9:15. I'm figuring 12:45, 1 o'clock is probably finish time.
I
probably
agree.
just go to the office. And
but there are going to be crazy people from Minnesota that went to Phoenix, and they're trying to sell tickets and do all the rest of that. And I mean, I'd love to go see the Gophers play, and I just want to go to do it in Pasadena.
I get it.
Yeah.
Let's move to hockey.
We can do that. Hockey.
The Wild have lost 4 in a row.
They have, and they're not going to be able to correct that for a while.
Well, they lost 7-4 at Dallas the other night, and we can have all kinds of excuses, but you want to know what I think the problem is? They hadn't played in 6 days.
It might have been.
How do you stay sharp?
No,
you need to play every other or every third day. Stay sharp. Keep the things going. So now they're going to play on a Sunday, a Thursday, a Monday, and a Saturday. I don't know what that Winter Classic at Target Field is going to be like. I mean, there's enough excitement the way it is, but then you put the fact that they've only played 3 games in the last 3 weeks. I don't think that makes for good theater.
Well, no, and they were talking today. They had the coach on, and he says, "What did you do?" We were trying to give the team a little break, so we went for about an hour and a half. And what part of your game did you work on? 3-on-3. And I thought, that's an intricate part of the game. I had not heard that before. And so he says we went for about an hour and 3-on-3, and then we played hockey like we're supposed to. What's that? Have fun.
Yeah.
And so this is what they're doing, and I mean, this is a team that really requires, I think, fun.
And he wasn't too happy that how unselfish they were being about trying to stay out, or being selfish. They seemed about staying not unselfish, being selfish and staying on the ice too long, trying to do things that they weren't supposed to be doing, not trusting their teammates. And I believe that to a certain extent, because you get tired, you make dumb mistakes, and they made plenty of dumb mistakes in the game the other night. And of course, as you mentioned, the NHL shutting down here completely. No practices, no nothing.
2 weeks.
Well, till next Monday.
Till next Monday?
Till next Monday. Some of these teams have been going to be shut down for 2 weeks because they've got so many COVID.
Well, and they won't let the teams cross the border and all the rest of this stuff. And it's kind of like right now, the COVID is so contagious that I can see that they have to shut it down for a little bit. I don't see us going back to next year. I don't see empty arenas and that type of thing.
No, I don't think they're seeing that that's causing a problem.
No, I don't think it is either.
They like the money coming in.
No, well, that's.
When you buy a $12 beer, that's good. That helps.
It's like our boss at the radio station said today. We're looking at profits.
The almighty dollar, baby.
Yeah, we should give them a hockey team.
That's what it's all about. So, yeah, not too much to talk NHL hockey-wise, just because everything is going to be shut down for the next 4 days. But the World Junior Hockey Tournament, to me, the way it sounds, is still on, and that's going to start on Sunday up in Canada. And I always find that tournament very, very enjoyable, and because it's in North America, you're going to be able to watch the games in the afternoons. It's always fun to watch. In the evenings, you get to see some of the best young talent. Bulldogs have a couple of players. A lot of the teams from Minnesota have guys playing on the juniors. Got to be 20 or younger, and so it's just always fun to watch. It's good, competitive hockey for the most part, and it's fun to watch.
What about the NHL not sending players over to the Olympics?
That was officially announced today. I think the biggest two factors played into it. One, if you get tested positive for COVID while you were in China, you got to quarantine for 21 days. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
That's the way that it is. The other thing is they just have canceled, 70 games? 50, I know it was 50 up through yesterday, I think, but then they had games today and tomorrow that they've postponed. So I think it's like 70 games that they've postponed. But where are you going to fit them into schedule? Hey, we've got an 18-day window in February when nobody was playing. How about we just move those games into there, and we'll take some games from the back end, from the end of April, and we'll move some of those games up now. Finding arenas and making sure you got all the openings and everything makes things difficult. But the end of the hockey season was not going to be till April, like 29th or 30th.
Oh.
So now they can move some of those games around, juggle the schedule a little bit. Somebody's in New York or someplace is checking things, and we're, hey, what about this? Let's call this. Can they got this? Can we play there? And so I think the NHL is making probably a prudent decision. I don't think the players wanted to go over there and be stuck for 3 weeks. I think they wanted to be able to say, oh, I got COVID, I want to jump on a plane and go home. No, you're going to isolate right here for 3 weeks, and we're going to make sure that everything is, is the right way. And I think the players didn't want to do that. So they'll go with non-pro players like they did in 2018, and that'll open the tournament up wide open. It won't be as fun to watch because you won't have those high-skill players, but it will probably still be competitive.
Yeah, on top of that, in the old days when those teams came out, you saw all the young kids.
Yeah.
From Russia, from the United States, from all over the world, and you saw these young guys, and this was before Russia wholesale sent their players to the NHL. But, you'd see these, and I was fine with that. These were great players. Even if the United States only won once every 15 years, when they won, it was huge. And so, it's whatever they want to do, because, professional hockey players are professional hockey players, no matter where they're playing. And it's like somebody came up with the Reds team in Russia. They went over to the European thing, and they wore retro uniforms. These were uniforms from the Soviet days. And they went and played Sweden on this, and Sweden kicked their butt 5-1. So it's one of these things where I really don't like politics being interjected in this, especially in hockey. But it is all the time.
Let's talk a little Timberwolves.
Let's talk a little Timberwolves.
They won 4 in a row till they lost in Dallas last night. Of course, Dallas was short players on Sunday night, and the Timberwolves are short players. I heard Luka Doncic went into COVID protocol today.
Yeah.
He's out for 10 days or whatever it is. So it's tough to get a read on these teams because it's not just the injuries, now it's the COVID.
It's the COVID.
And they're dealing with it in all the sports. But right now it seems to be hitting the Timberwolves as they've got 5 players out because of COVID protocols. And you take maybe your two best defenders in Vanderbilt and Beverly, and you put them on the shelf. Yeah.
Well, that's going to hurt, and it's one of those things where they beat the Mavericks earlier, and Mavericks were a little bit slacking the stuff. But the Timberwolves, they have to show that they're amongst the best in the league. And earlier this year, other teams were afraid to play them because all of a sudden they were playing pretty well, and offensively they were hammering it, and defensively they were picking it up. So I tell you, it's one of those things. I'd like to think, geez, they're going to swoop into the playoffs, maybe even win a first round. But I think that might be.
I think make the playoffs. They're still in that range.
Yeah, they are.
But I don't know if you heard about this, but a couple weeks ago the Wolves played Utah, and Utah has a big center named Rudy Gobert.
They do.
Rudy's been named Defensive Player of the Year. Well, Rudy didn't take maybe the toughest defensive assignment against the Wolves, and some of the Wolves players, Anthony Edwards among them, Jared Vanderbilt among them, kind of went after Rudy Gobert that, hey, if you're so good, this was after the game, hey, if you're so good at defense, why are you playing against the weakest person on the Timberwolves, on the floor for the Timberwolves. Well, they play Utah tomorrow night.
Oh, so this is all going to come back.
Yeah, I think Rudy Gobert, who just went for 21 and 21 or something like that last night or the night before.
Yeah, when Rudy gets hot, he's incredible.
This is going to be, I think the Wolves are going to get ripped wide open by the Jazz. It's not going to be pretty.
I never understood this ragging on an opponent, especially at that level, because you know that's going to come back to bite.
You know what the worst part about it was? I think the Timberwolves lost by 33 points that night. If I remember right, the score was 138-105, and then the Wolves players went after the winning team's player because he didn't have the toughest defensive side. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's a 5-man game, and you have to grab all that.
I don't know what they're thinking, but I don't have much hope for Thursday night.
That's youth and immaturity.
Somebody needs to grab hold of those youth and immaturity and say, don't do that. That's dumb.
That is dumb.
That's dumb.
For sure.
That's sometimes the best way to learn, though, when we make mistakes. What else do we want to talk about? You know one thing we haven't mentioned on this show? Not once. I don't believe so. I'm wearing baseball, both top end, bottom.
Bismarck.
Got my Bismarck Larks hat on. I got my Twins polo run. Because I'm freezing to death. I don't know what it is. I can't seem to get warm today. But the other part of it, we never mentioned that the major leagues is in a lockout.
They aren't. There is no baseball.
We have not. They've been out for like 3
I
weeks.
kept on saying
we're doing our job.
We're only 7 or 8 weeks from the season to be opening up, except that there ain't no season they're locked out.
Yeah.
And so it's you feel it's. You see people that try to shoot themselves in the foot and miss, and you see other people shoot themselves in the foot and they hit. And that's just...
That's baseball?
That's baseball right now. And it's, you got these kids. I mean, you and I follow Wyatt, and we really want the best for this kid. We want that, we want baseball to be good for him. And, they're kind of shooting it. It's too bad. I love baseball, and so do you. And it's... No, don't do this.
I just don't get it. So
no,
what else we got left to talk about? We kind of hit the major sports.
Yes, we have.
What else have we got left?
Well, let me see. We talked volleyball before. That's over. Yeah. We've talked about
Cheeseheads won it all.
Cheese and did a nice job too. They're
had to go 5 sets against Nebraska, all Big Ten title match. So that's good to see. It's deserving.
I haven't heard of who actually has been volleyball player of the year, but I think Stephanie has a shot at it, and it's I
say she has a shot at it.
I think she has a shot at it, but there are 3 or 4 other women there that
a lot of good volleyball.
That digger for Wisconsin. I couldn't believe what she was doing. Are you digging a hole in that floor? It's they really were a good volleyball team.
Wrestling will get going here in earnest after the
it will,
Christmas
and we will, and they're going to start off with Iowa, I believe, and they're going to pick up from there. But the month of January is really good for wrestling. They're going to have a master duel, and then on the 28th, they're going to wrestle Michigan, and that's Stevenson and Parrish Mason. They're going to wrestle, and those are the 2 best heavyweights in the country. So we'll see what happens now. Yeah, Parrish Mason hasn't. He has Mason Parrish. He hasn't beaten Stevenson for a while, but he's a very good athlete.
Ain't going to happen either.
No, I don't think so either.
The big fellow, the gold medal, is not going to go away.
Yeah.
You don't have anything else written in here? Let me see. That's it?
No, I wanted to mention about the Gopher basketball team. And they are at the bottom of the list of offensive boards. And if they have one serious weakness, you got to get some OBs. And, that's where those putbacks come, and that's where they go. And I think that they just don't have that massive guy up front. And I don't want to
why they got so few offensive rebounds? Because they make so many.
Yeah, they make so many shots. Well, I never thought about that, but, Eric Curry, he's up there battling these incredible mules. And but, on the other hand, Jamison Battles, He's in there. He's a pretty good rebounder too, and so no, the Gopher basketball team, I'm not too worried about them. They're a lot better than I thought they were going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bronco boys hockey team.
Yes, tell me about that. 2
wins in a row. They beat Kitson County and Ely Northeast Range. Not that those are powerhouse clubs, but you got to get wins. You got to win the games that you're supposed to win. So they got their first 2 wins of the season. The Bronco boys basketball team got their first win of the season last night against.
Yeah, I watched that. That was a good game.
You watched that?
I watched that.
Where'd you watch it at?
Oh, on my television.
On KCC TV or YourLiveEvent.com.
Yeah. Your live event.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
But girls basketball team is 6-1, heading for Deer River on Thursday night.
You know, Deer River's no give me game either.
You know, Deer River's been like this season.
Okay.
They've been kind of up and down. They beat Nashwauk the other night by about 40 points, but they lost a couple of games that, frankly, I don't think they should have. They got a new coach, so that happens when you got a new coach. Things kind of go up and down, but not in the NFL. You just get a new coach every time something goes wrong, and everything just works out better when you have a new coach.
Dump that guy.
Get rid of that guy anyway. Girls hockey, they're headed for Morris Benson area next week for a couple of games. You know, a lot of their games early in the season were double-digit losses. They've been keeping them down into the 6 range. Everybody's kind of going, "Are you nuts, Ringer? What's going on?" Hey, take your steps where you get them.
That's right.
And I think they're playing better defense. Mara Pellin is getting way more confident, the freshman goaltender, so they got that going on. Bronco Swimming and Diving got a couple of duels and an invitational in last week. They split those duels, lost to Masabi East with really only one varsity swimmer there. They had some issues, sicknesses and testing and things that had to get done. Having said that, they went back and beat Chisholm, so those are your Bronco teams, and Destiny Pekarski got injured.
So how long is she out for?
2 to 6 weeks.
Ooh.
I saw some pictures of the incident, for lack of a better term. She was running down behind the defense, and the girl kind of got close to her, and her legs, she kind of leaned back, but her legs were out, and Destiny went up and landed on the leg, and sounds like it's a hamstring injury. And, you know, those can sometimes be very difficult to heal because
they can take a while.
Hamstrings are so important to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got our area teams out there doing their things, and of course next week some holiday tournaments, some teams just playing. So we'll keep plodding along.
So the hockey has a holiday tournament.
The boys hockey team is going to War Road.
They're going to do it at War Road.
They'll play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
The girls hockey team plays Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm going to say it this way: against teams that they have a chance to win against. Is that fair enough?
You know, and it's only fair to the girls too.
Yeah, and, you know, it's too bad they got to drive 5 hours to get into a tournament, but at the same time, playing in some competitive game. Look, I had the coaches on Coach's Corner on Saturday morning, and my first question to them was, how exciting was it for the girls when they played Detroit Lakes and lost 5-4? They said it was amazing. The girls were on the bench screaming at each other, "We're scoring goals! We're in this game! We got a chance!" And I said, okay, they lost 5-4. How were they in the locker room? They were devastated. Devastated that they lost. Because, okay, they lost 11-0, 14-0, 10-1, 6-0, 7-0.
Here they had a shot to win.
Here they had a shot to win. And, you know, that's what... they competed. They did the things they were supposed to do.
That's why you do it.
You do it. And so they're going to go down. They're going to play Morris Benson's area, and then either Litchfield, Nassau, Cokato, and can't think of the 4th team right now. But anyway, the Bronco girls will head down there. I hope they get a win, and we'll see what happens. You know, last year Prairie Center was a team that they beat. Prairie Center's not doing that well this year either, so I know the Broncos play them, so we'll see. They get to play again. They play Detroit Lakes again down in Detroit Lakes in the middle of January, so there's all kinds of things, all kinds of chances, and I think you got a goaltender like Pellin who's making 40 to 60 saves a game. Give yourself a chance.
Well, no matter what the game, you want an opportunity, and that's all you get to have is an opportunity to be successful. And you know, however you take that, you have to work hard for those opportunities. And it's you know, when you see this, we know how cruel it is to lose. On the other hand, it's going to come to them sooner or later, and they're going to be very happy about it.
I suppose I have to mention that Jet Tomczak scored 43 points in a game.
Jet Tomczak's really a remarkable ball player. Not only he didn't score that much last night, but boy, he was around, hanging around for rebounds and defense, and he's.
Shots didn't go down last night as well as they had the previous 3 games, but yeah, you scored 43 points in the game. It's not by accident.
No, but he didn't score that many last night, and they won. And it's one of those things where you spread that scoring around, and there was some scoring, and all of a sudden he becomes the leader of that team.
They got Tucker Budris back into the lineup.
Tucker helps.
Owen Worley comes back in the lineup next week. Now all of a sudden you've got your full complement of players.
Yeah.
Now let's judge where the Broncos are at. We'll go from there.
We'll go from there. I agree.
What else? Did we tell you that George did Safe and Sober this afternoon and was a champion? He got to a blood alcohol of 0.1. He did good work.
It's amazing they didn't put me in jail.
And the best part about it was neither one of the guys swore on the air, so that was a win as far as I'm concerned, because you know what happens when you start having a few, the tongue gets a little looser.
It does.
And so I think everybody did themselves well, and yeah.
Oh, and I gotta tell you, what a great bunch of cops that were in there monitoring. They were just super guys, and you want to wish those there and their family. Dane Olson, he's been here 15 years. I don't know this guy, so he's got a family. He's been up here.
Came from
Esco. We won't. And so, but what a guy and what a character. And we forget that these cops are characters too, and they're really, you take off the uniform, they're pretty nice guys. They have to wear a different face when they go out there in public, but. And I don't want to take away from Perrin Hedlund either. He was down there. They don't come much nicer than that.
And of course, Anthony Castens, I think if I remember,
yes.
he was the one administering the test more often than not.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I think it was a good program. I think it's always good to remind people that there are cab issues out there. If you're going to be at an establishment like this, that there are options to get yourself home safely without putting yourself in jail.
Exactly. So. Exactly. Other than that, no, that was fun.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
See you next week.
Hopefully you're safe and happy to enjoy it with family and friends. And again, stay safe. Don't drink and drive.
Yeah, and listen to the Blues Show every Saturday. Friday this week.
Friday the next 2 weeks.
Next 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody.